fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver, the Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver. Let's go, big fella. I'll Silver. Aye!
Get on there!
The Lone Ranger, disguised as a rancher, was on the stagecoach that brought 23-year-old Tom Lee to the cattle town of Abilene. Tom Lee was Chinese and the son of Wong, cook for Dominic Taylor's D Circle T ranch. He was returning there after 10 years in the East at school and college. He explained to his friendly traveling companion,
"My father wanted me to adopt the customs of his new country from the time I was born. He unfortunately never had that chance. Since my mother died, he's been too busy working to raise me."
I know who your father is, Tom. I've been in the West a long time. I know Mr. Taylor, too.
Oh, he's a good man. And it was he who finally made possible my going to college. Oh, he is the only one who knows I'm returning. My father has no inkling of it. It's Mr. Taylor's surprise to him.
Get up there!
That evening, in a cafe in Abilene, Clay Geary, foreman of the D Circle T ranch, met with his pals Jake Spencer and Slim Weston. He was completing plans for a robbery he had conceived weeks earlier.
Now that the trail gang's moving the herd to Dodge City, old man Taylor's alone at the ranch.
Oh, what about the Chinese cook you mentioned?
Wong? Oh, forget about him. He sleeps behind the cookhouse, doesn't understand our language. And if he heard a call for help, he wouldn't know what it meant.
Well, that takes care of him. What about you, Clay?
Well, Slim, I can't afford to be mixed up in this. People would get wise. I'll stay in the bunkhouse till you finish with the old man. We'll meet later to divide the loot.
Later that evening, rancher Dominic Taylor, seated at a desk in his ranch house, pushed aside the business papers he'd been studying as he heard a knock on the front door.
Now, don't tell me that Tom Lee's arrived so soon. Just a minute. Tom, I wasn't expecting
Step
you
back
to...
in the room, Taylor, and reach for the ceiling.
You heard what he said. Raise your hands.
Get out of here, you varmints. Get out of here, or I'll...
There. He's out cold, Jake.
Yeah, you shouldn't have hit him so hard. We want him to tell us where he hides his money.
Well, it must be here somewhere. Let's start looking.
All right, you start with the desk. I'll search in the closet first.
The stagecoach from Kansas City had arrived in Abilene. Tom Lee, after saying goodbye to the man he believed to be a rancher, went to the livery stable and claimed the horse left there for him by Dominic Taylor.
Steady. Get up there.
As he rode from town to the nearby D Circle T, the Lone Ranger joined Tonto at the opposite end of the main street. Tonto was holding the reins of the great horse Silver.
Aye, Tonto. Hello, Silver. Easy, steady, big fella. Tonto, let's go directly to camp. I'd like to change these clothes. I'll tell you about my trip later. Come on, Silver.
Come up, Scout.
At that moment in the D Circle T ranch house, Jake and Slim continued their search for Dom Taylor's hidden money. But unexpectedly, Jake found the secret hiding place in a bedroom closet. He pulled a valise from behind the wooden compartment.
Hey, Slim, look at the money in this suitcase. It's filled. Well, there's more here than we ever...
hear you. Leave that money alone.
The old man, Jake, he's come to.
He has a gun. Shoot him.
Taylor's shots missed, but Slim Weston's bullets caught the rancher in the side and shoulder. Taylor collapsed as a horse came to a stop outside.
You got him, Slim, twice.
Well, he asked for it. He's dead, I think.
Hey, Slim, the door. It's the Chinaman.
Tom Lee, hearing the shots from outside, had run into the house. Now shot in the arm. He fell forward on his face as Slim's second shot whizzed by his head.
I'll finish them both off for
No,
you.
Slim, wait. I got an idea. The Chinaman's unconscious. Leave him that way.
Huh?
Yeah. Clay told us not to kill the old man, but we had to. This way it's better.
Stop talking. Let's vamoose.
No. Take that gun of yours. Put it in the Chinaman's hand.
What?
You heard me. Then when you've done that, give him a real hard rap on the head to make sure he's out cold for a long time.
But why?
Because they'll think he's the one who killed old man Taylor. We'll go down to the bunkhouse, tell Clay what we did, and have him go with the story to the sheriff. Then we... Slim, that Chinaman's wide awake.
Yes. Yeah, that'll put him to sleep.
Hey, that was some whack.
Hey, Jake, do you think he heard what we said?
It doesn't matter if he did or not. He can't understand English. Don't you remember what Clay told us?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, let's get out now. We'll go to the bunkhouse and talk to Clay.
Less than 15 minutes later, Foreman Clay Geary of the D Circle T Ranch burst into the office of Sheriff Josh Randolph.
Sheriff, robbers, they escaped.
Clay, what's the matter? What's happened?
Robbers, Chinese robbers. They murdered Dom Taylor.
Dom Taylor murdered?
Yeah, Wong killed him. Wong's friends took Taylor's money and got away. I came in on them while they were doing it and tried to stop them. I shot Wong right after he killed Taylor, but, well, they knocked me out and got away.
All of them?
No. Wong's still at the house, unconscious.
Let's get out there right away then, Clay. I'll round up the posse. You get Dr. White and hurry out to the ranch.
Dr. White?
Yeah. We want to save Wong so we can hang him. Chinese bandits, huh? We'll get him and show him what the law is.
Clay Geary, as he ran to Dr. White's office, passed the word about the fictitious Chinese bandits.
Chinaman killed Dom Taylor. A whole band of Chinese robbers.
The sheriff and his posse, together with Clay Geary and Dr. White, headed for Taylor's ranch at the same moment that Jake and Slim arrived in town by a roundabout way.
Steady there.
The sheriff and the men with him burst into the Taylor ranch house. Sheriff Randolph's eyes saw the unconscious Chinese on the floor. Surprised, he turned to a suddenly ashen-faced Clay Geary.
That's not Wong. I thought you said Wong killed Taylor and that you busted Wong's head.
Well, I thought it was Wong. They said, look, I was groggy from the way those Chinamen beat me. I thought it was Wong who shot Taylor, and I just...
Sheriff. What is it, Doctor?
Taylor isn't dead. He's in bad shape, and he's lost a lot of blood.
What?
He's not dead. Now, you men be careful. Yes, sir. Carry Taylor into bed, and I'll do what I can for him. That's it. Easy now. Lay him gently on the bed. Sheriff, what about this Chinese boy?
He's out colder than anyone I've ever seen, Doctor.
Let me see.
His eyes are bad. He has a concussion, maybe worse. Hey, I'll tell you what.
Yes, Doctor.
Take him into town to my place. Or to jail, whatever you think best. Get my wife to look after him. She's a nurse.
Clay, where are you going?
I'm sick, Sheriff. I need air. I'll go outside and look for the trail. Those Chinese must have left the trail.
Clay Geary spurred his horse all the way to Abilene. In town, he dismounted and hurried into the cafe.
Ho!
He found Jake and Slim waiting at a corner table.
You fools, you stupid fools, you.
Hey, who you talking to like
You,
that?
Jake, and you, Slim. You didn't finish off Taylor at all.
What?
That's right. And the Chinaman you shot wasn't Wong.
You're crazy. You said there was only one Chinaman on the ranch. The one we shot wasn't Wong, then who was he?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Oh, can he understand English? Because if he can't... Slim, he heard us talking. If he understood us, we're cooked.
Well, let's make sure he doesn't talk. We gotta act fast. Do it before the sheriff gets him here to town.
How?
Get a mob ready to lynch him.
Within minutes, a large crowd of men from the cafes were on the street, egged on by inflammatory speeches being made by Clay, Jake, and Slim. They headed for the jailhouse, ready to take the prisoner from the sheriff and his posse. Clay Geary brought the crowd to a new high pitch when he shouted,
Make sure they don't lock him up in jail where we can't get at him. Let's burn the jailhouse down.
Yeah, burn the jailhouse! Don't let him hide the Chinaman!
Come on, get the fire started.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger adventure. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue. The Lone Ranger and Tonto, in their newly established camp near the outskirts of Abilene, saw the reflection of fire in the sky above the town.
Here, Silver. Tonto, there's a fire in town. Perhaps we'll be able to help fight it easy. Steady, big fella.
Easy, Scout, easy,
Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
Oh, Silver.
Oh, Scout, no,
steady.
fella.
Tonto, that was the jail. It's burned to the ground.
But nobody fight fire. And look, Kemosabe. Crowd run away from fire. Go to building next to jail.
That's the sheriff's office. That's Sheriff Randolph on horseback talking to them.
Them sound plenty mad.
It's a mob, Tonto. They seem to be threatening the sheriff.
And what we do, Kemosabe?
We'll try to learn what they're up to first.
Well, there's space between buildings cross street from sheriff's office.
Yes, it's dark there, too.
Them not see us if we ride behind buildings. Then come through alley.
We'll try that. Come on, Silver.
Come, Scout. Come, fella.
Oh, Silver. Oh, easy.
Oh, fella.
This is close enough, Tonto.
Them not see us here in alley.
Wait, listen.
Sheriff Randolph and his two deputies had been surrounded by the mob, which was intent on taking the wounded Tom Lee from their custody. The lawman had implored them to allow the law to take its course, but Jake Spencer renewed the crowd's fury.
It's no use, Sheriff. We gotta lynch him.
Without seeming to plan flight, the sheriff and his men backed their horses through the crowd as the chief lawman spoke.
Now, wait! Don't be so rash. Nobody's dead yet.
Come on, take the Chinaman. Hey, boys, look. They're backing away. They're trying to save the Chinaman. Don't let them. Slim, Jake, come on.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto from the darkened alley saw the leaders draw their guns. They fired at them.
Oh, my arm. Jake, I'm shot.
So mine, my wrist.
The unexpected shots took the mob by surprise. The masked man and Indian continued to fire, but purposely aimed above the heads of the men, most of whom were running for shelter. The few who remained in the open to return the fire shot aimlessly into the dark.
Those last shots were close, Tonto. Look, the sheriff and the others are getting away. Tonto, you stay here and check on the mob. I'll ride after the sheriff. Come on, Silver.
The giant striding Silver caught up with the lawman's horses a short distance from town.
Sheriff Randolph!
Boys, hold your fires. The Lone Ranger. Oh,
Silver, ho!
Sheriff Randolph, who had been aided by the Lone Ranger in the past, expressed surprise and thanks when he learned the masked man and Indian had been the ones who wounded the mob leaders. The Lone Ranger asked,
Sheriff, how did you ever let them get the jump on you?
Well, I don't know. I saw them coming. Most of them fellers I knew, and I didn't want to shoot at them.
Don't forget that Chinaman shot Dom Taylor. They had a right to be mad.
What you're saying isn't true. Tom Lee is my friend.
Your friend? This Chinaman?
Yes. He'll make a better citizen than those men in that mob tonight if he gets a chance.
But, mister, he shot Taylor.
That part about Taylor, I can't believe.
Hey, look, he's coming, too.
Easy, steady, big fella. Here, give me a hand. We'll lift him from the saddle. Help me, please.
Tom Lee had suffered a concussion, the reason for his lengthy period of unconsciousness. While the Lone Ranger helped to revive him, Sheriff Randolph, puzzled by the turn in events, told the story of the evening as he knew it. The masked man was skeptical.
Tom and I arrived on the stage from Kansas City together. He was alone. There were no friends of his anywhere near.
Please, I hear what you're saying. Did they get away?
Did who get away? Your friends?
Those men who shot Mr. Taylor. Jake was one. The other's name was Slim.
Sheriff, you hear that? He said Jake and Slim. Do you mean Jake Spencer and Slim Weston?
I don't know. I didn't see their faces. They shot me, and I pretended to be knocked out. They had another partner, Clay.
Sheriff, he's talking about Clay Geary.
Tom Lee recalled in weak tones but vivid manner his hearing Taylor's cries, then the shots, and then the conversation he'd overheard after he'd been wounded and before the two crooks knocked him unconscious. When he finished, the Lone Ranger said,
Well, Sheriff, does the picture look clear to you now?
Those dirty rattlers. Trying and getting away with a thing like that.
They haven't, Sheriff.
You can't be too sure. In court, it'll be a Chinaman's word against theirs. Hey, here comes the engine.
Don't reach for your gun. That's Tonto. He's my good friend.
Oscar, open, eh? Oh, Kimasabi.
Yes, Tonto.
Me watch what happened to mob. Them break up. Some go to doctor's office, but doctor not in. Others go to cafe.
Then, Tonto, you're going back to at least one of them, and you're going to give him a message. That is, if the sheriff will consent.
I'll consent, all right. It looks as if I've made fool enough of myself for tonight. You and this young Chinese boy here approve that to me. Tell me what you have in mind.
Certainly, Sheriff. It's this. Take Tom Lee to some place near here where he'll seem to be alone. A cabin, perhaps.
I know where there's one near. The old widow Black. She's moved out.
Good. Now, here's my plan. Tonto will find one of the men Tom Lee mentioned and...
Tonto, on instructions from the masked man, hurried to Abilene once more. He found Jake Spencer and told him Tom Lee was hiding in a deserted cabin on the East Road. Tom Lee was lying on the bare floor of the deserted cabin when the door opened slowly.
Hey.
A man holding a lighted lantern stepped inside. It was Jake Spencer. He spoke to someone outside the door.
Boys, the Injun told the truth. He's in here on the floor all by himself.
Well, what do you know? There he is, Clay.
Yeah, I see him. And he's awake. You, China boy, you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, I hear.
Did you talk to the sheriff about anything?
Yes. I told him about Slim and Jake and you, Clay.
Why,
Why, the yellow varmint knows us.
you listened when we were back at the ranch after I shot you?
Yes. After you shot Mr. Taylor, too.
Oh, you dumb oxes. You were even more stupid than I thought.
If he told all that to the sheriff, we're finished.
We better get back to your place, Slim. Grab the money you took from Taylor and ride away from here. We'll be far away before the sheriff gets after us.
I don't think you will be.
What the...
A masked man.
Yes, and the sheriff.
It's a trap. Shoot him, boys.
Oh, no!
Not you, Gary.
No!
What's the matter, Jake? And you, Slim? Did you forget I already shot your gun hands once tonight?
Yeah, I forgot. I couldn't draw.
My arm started to bleed again.
I couldn't care less after what you coyotes tried to get away with.
You have them dead to rights, Sheriff. Now, if you get Tom to a doctor.
Dr. White will take care of him as soon as he's finished with Mr. Taylor. Meanwhile, we'll see that the doctor's wife does everything possible for your friend Tom.
Good. You might bandage these 3 crooks, too, before you put the cuffs on them.
I'll do that now.
Tom, a terrible thing happened to you tonight.
It might have been worse. From what I've heard, they might have hanged me.
But they didn't. And I doubt that they'll ever try to hang anyone again, except by law.
You're right about that, mister. It'll prove to them how wrong they can be about a lot of things, especially about the color of a man's skin or the slant of his eyes. Tom, while you're in town, I want you to be my friend.
Well, thank you, Sheriff.
Goodbye, Tom. Sheriff, come on, fellow.
Wait, please don't go. He's gone. After all he did for me, he's gone.
Only somewhere else to help another hombre who's in trouble, or to make people get smart to themselves. You see, he's the Lone Ranger.
This is a feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated, created by George W. Trendle, produced by Trendle Campbell Muir Incorporated, directed by Charles D. Livingston, and edited by Fran Stryker. The part of the Lone Ranger is played by Brace Beamer.